Hello everyone, welcome to my video. In this one, we're gonna be having a look at Jordan Peterson, who's having a Bitcoinization of his own. The famed psychologist and media personality had a Canadian politician as a guest in his podcast and couldn't help but touch on the subject. Let's hear it.
So let's say there is a 4 to 5% inflation rate for the next 5 to 10 years. And what that means is that the average Canadian savings are going to be cut in terms of their purchasing power by something exceeding 50%. That would be over a 5 to 10 year period. So it doesn't sound like a lot for 4 to 5%, but it compounds across time and it can add up to something substantial in no time flat. Hey, so I got a question that's a little pushing the envelope a little bit. The cryptocurrency types, the people who are pushing Bitcoin in particular, make the extraordinarily radical claim that it would be better for everyone if the entire business of money was taken out of the hands of government permanently. And that's essentially what Bitcoin allows, at least at the present time. And so that means that central bankers and politicians would, in principle, assuming this is actually a possibility, would never be able to print money, and they would never be able to inflate currency. And what do you think about those sorts of cryptocurrency claims? And well, I'd like to know what you think about that in general.
I agree with that. I think they're right. We have a fiat currency right now, and that's why this inflation and we are losing our purchasing power. Yes, I believe that we must have more competition, and the cryptocurrencies and the Bitcoin can be an alternative. But personally, I prefer a gold standard like we had in the 19th century here in Canada, because when you have a gold standard, the central bank won't be able to print money out of thin air. It's another way to control the central bank. So, and we had that before in the past, in the 19th century, and that was very prosperous time, prosperous century. So, but I'm not against the cryptocurrency. I think we must have more competition. You're absolutely right on that.
So the Austrian economists, the Hayek types, and they believe that the business cycle is actually, the boom and bust business cycle is actually produced by the attempts by government to overspend in the face of so-called crises, and that produces inflation and a variety of other factors that then produce the business cycle in turn, this sequence of essential busts and booms. And so does that seem like a reasonable proposition to you, or do you look at it differently than that?
No, I think you're absolutely right, Jordan. Hayek, Mises, Rothbard, that they're real economists, and they know that, and they're the only one that wrote about that and studied that. And I believe, yes, the circle that we have, the up and downs in the economy, it's because of the central bank. Money is everywhere, and if you create too much money out of thin air, you'll have inflation and distortion in the economy and boom and boost that we have. So I 100% agree with Mrs. Rothbard, Hayek, and these economists.
So I think these are ideas. Just we'll move a bit sideways here again. I think a lot of what political leaders could do, if they had the intellectual capacity, would be to use forums like YouTube to actually educate the public. And I don't mean I'm shaking my finger at you because you need to be educated. I mean to walk people through the logic and to explain why these propositions are reasonable, and to treat the public as if they're capable of engaging in actual intellectual exercise. Because my experience on YouTube has been that they are, to a massively surprising degree. Because I conduct these discussions with people I really admire, and sometimes those people are really, really smart. And so the discussions go fast and deep, and there's no evidence at all that people aren't following along, and there's plenty of evidence that they really appreciate it.
So yes, I'm doing politics differently, and yes, I believe that people are intelligent, and I don't want to I don't see people like children, that we must give them more security and more regulations and a bigger government that will control them.
Yeah, well, I also think it's stunningly cynical on the part of political leaders to manage their message. Because it means that there's no real faith in just direct discussion, and maybe no capacity for that discussion to begin with. I mean, our prime minister has stated publicly that he's really not interested in monetary policy, and
Yeah.
What I read that, I read that two ways. Is one, well, three ways. One, how could you possibly say that and not notice what you just said? And second, well, perhaps that's because you actually don't understand it. And third, it's because not only do you not understand it, but you don't know how terrible it is that you don't understand it.
There's some talk of allowing the Bank of Canada to make some tweaks to the mandate to give it a little bit more flexibility to tolerate higher inflation, so it could, help stimulate the economy a little bit more in this very difficult time. Do you have a position on the mandate? Would you support a slightly higher tolerance for inflation?
I don't know. When I think about the biggest, most important economic policy this government, if re-elected, would move forward, you'll forgive me if I don't think about monetary policy.
If you are interested for more Bitcoin or cryptocurrency news, I would recommend to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon. This way, next time I upload a new video, you will be notified and you get the first access on the news. Thank you for watching and have a great day.